good morning. Thank you all for coming. Compliance 2015. Last year when we were accredited with a new organization, we were able to shrink down all the things we have to do, which is awesome. So I'm just going to quickly go over fraud, waste, and abuse training. I pared down the presentation a bit, but the full one is hanging here. So if you ever feel a need to want to look something up, I went over things too fast, it's always right here on the board. It's a full 97 slides. We're going to do about 30 today. Then OSHA. Any changes will also be posted here. So if you ever have any questions or concerns about OSHA, everyone know what that is? Occupational Safety and Hazard, right? So all of that. Also changes in Medicaid, Medicare, any of those websites are right here. So you can just go and Google that, look that up. So all the information you need is available to you. That's one of our responsibilities, to make sure that you are educated with everything you need to know to do your job. The OIG and the Health and Human Services rules, again, also are posted in employee rights. Emergency preparedness, hopefully everyone got one. I think this is important to go over every year, so I made a photocopy, handed out what to do in an emergency. It goes over quickly. The fire officer is Barb. We are going to have a fire drill unannounced every single year. We try to do it at different shifts so that everyone gets to experience it every couple of years, so there's no panic in the event anything ever happens. But those are for everyone to take home. If you have any questions, see Barb or myself. Reporting. It is critical that we keep doing a good job on reporting. Infection control. If you're sick with like strep, Jill Coleman, you gotta write it in the log in the back. There's a set. For example,
all right, thanks.
Any type of infection, MRSA, things like that, we have to keep a log of it. So all we gotta do is find the book. Lori has a set in the back. There's a set out at retail. We want incidents. Anytime an incident happens here, a customer falls or anything, customer complaints, just log them in. The managers bring those to the manager meeting with the owners every single month and go over it. We need information logged because stuff happens. So that was the big, and infection control, customer complaints, incidents, those are the big ones. So if you could please be conscious of when those things happen, write them in, that's super helpful. So our presentation is going to be on fraud, waste, and abuse. We're going to do the first part, the fraud, waste, and abuse training. There's also the general compliance. We cover general compliance in all of the other forms. Barb goes around and she covers forms every single year, the standards of conduct, our policies and procedures. That is incorporated, but if you're interested in Medicare's, again, that's right there. Next slide. You're the ones who help prevent fraud, waste, and abuse. Your responsibilities here. So you're required to comply, you have to report it, and then to follow the codes of the organization to make sure. You want to be up to date with the laws, regulations, and policies. Ensure you're coordinated with the other payers. The data and billing is accurate. Verify information provided to you and look out for suspicious activity. Criminal fraud is when you knowingly and willfully executing or attempting to execute a scheme or artifice to defraud any healthcare benefit program, or to obtain by means of false or fraudulent pretenses, representation, or promises any of the money or property owned by or under the custody or control of healthcare benefit program. You don't want to do that, that will make you personally liable. So if you intentionally do something, now if your manager asks you to intentionally do something, don't do it, because you will be responsible. So waste is overutilization of services or other practices directly or indirectly, resulting in unnecessary cost to the Medicare program. Generally not considered criminally negligent, but rather misuse of resources. Abuse is actions that may directly or indirectly result in unnecessary cost to Medicare. Abuse involves payment for items or services when there's not legal entitlement to that payment and the provider has not knowingly or intentionally misrepresented facts to obtain the payment. Differences. One of the primary differences is intent and knowledge. Fraud requires a person to have an intent to obtain payment and the knowledge that their actions are wrong. Waste and abuse may involve obtaining improper payment, but you don't know about it. Do not be concerned about whether it is fraud, waste, or abuse. Just report any concerns to your compliance manager. That is myself. and we'll investigate and make the proper determination. You need to be able to recognize the signs. Does the prescription look altered or possibly forged? Have you filled numerous identical prescriptions for this beneficiary, possibly from different doctors? Is the person receiving the service picking up the prescription the actual beneficiary? Is the prescription appropriate based on the beneficiary's other prescriptions? Does the beneficiary's medical history support the services? So even when there's a script, you are responsible to make sure it is correct. Provider issues. Are they diagnosed for the member supporting the medical record? Does the provider bill the sponsor for the services not provided? For pharmacy issues, are the PBMs being billed for prescriptions that are not filled or picked up? Are drugs being diverted? Manufacturer issues. Does the manufacturer promote off-label drug uses? Does the manufacturer provide samples knowing that samples will be billed to a federal health care program? So we're all required, if any of those incidents happen, we are required to report that. And that's clearly stated in our code of conduct as well. So once the issue is identified, a plan to correct them will be developed. So there's two types of fraud, civil and criminal. The civil fraud will make you liable for fines. The criminal fraud could cause imprisonment. Kickbacks, not allowed. Cannot knowingly, willfully solicit, receive, or offer paying remuneration, anything, for referrals for services that are paid in whole or part under the federal health care program. The Stark statute prohibits a physician from making a referral for certain health services to an entity in which the physician or a member of his or her family has an ownership or investment interest. So, they can't do it. No federal health care program payment may be made for any item or service furnished or prescribed to an individual entity excluded by the OIG. Now, every single month, all of our names are run. We go to the OIG and we make sure no one has been arrested for fraud. And we have a computer program that does that every single month for us. So in the instance that anyone's name came up outside of this, we would know about it right away, and it would affect your ability to certainly bill Medicare, possibly work here. So HIPAA, a greater access to healthcare insurance, protection of privacy, safeguards to prevent that. So you're not giving out protected health information. So the consequences are civil money penalties, criminal fines, civil prosecution, imprisonment, loss of provider license, and exclusion from healthcare programs. So here's the quiz to see if you're paying attention. You need to back up, I think. I think you went a little fast, honey. Yeah, here's scenario one. So a person comes to the pharmacy to drop off a prescription for a beneficiary who's a regular customer. Prescription is for a controlled substance for 160. Beneficiary normally receives 60. You review it, you think there's possible forgery. What's your next step? Okay, what do we think?
C.
Excellent, yes. Right? Call the prescriber to verify. And then we could call the compliance hotline, or you could just, if you're more comfortable, just go see your manager on how to handle that. Next one, another quiz. So your job is to submit risk diagnosis to CMS for purposes of payment. As part of this job, you are to verify through a certain process that the data is accurate. Your immediate supervisor tells you to ignore the process and adjust the risk diagnosis codes for certain individuals. What do you do?
B.
Excellent. Report it to me. If I'm not here, report to John. Okay, number 3. You're in charge of payment of claims submitted for the providers. You notice a certain diagnosis provider has requested a substantial payment for a large number of members. And claims for a certain procedure. Review the same type of procedure for other diagnostic providers and realize their claims far exceed the other provider. What do you do?
3 minutes.
No one?
Anyone? Anyone?
Isn't it C again?
Be yours?
University, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, see, don't be afraid, it's okay. So either of them are acceptable. You do not want to contact the provider. Okay, you're performing regular inventory of controlled substances in the pharmacy. It might happen today. You discover a minor inventory discrepancy. What do you do?
See?
In this one, they say E. What do we do? Then that is the answer, right? You just tell someone it's a minor discrepancy. We don't have to call the DEA. We've got to recount. We figure that out from there. That's it.
Wait.
Yay. So we are done in record time. Any questions or concerns? If you need more information, please just let me know.